Welcome back. Time for this week's Capitol Report with Pat McGuigan of CapitolBeatOK.com. Pat, about 580, give or take, couple candidates filed for state and federal office in Oklahoma last week. Any surprises there, and what would you say are the most important races to monitor?
I wouldn't say there were a whole lot of surprises, although I'll get to something in just a minute that plays into the unexpected, certainly as of a few months ago. But real quickly, the races, I think most people that are, you don't have to be a junkie to kind of be focused on the fact that the Republican U.S. Senate primary will be a big race in June, primarily between former Speaker Shannon and, of course, Representative Lankford, Congressman Lankford. On the Democratic side, there's even going to be a primary, but I think Connie Johnson will ultimately be the nominee. Then getting a little further down in the ranks, 5th District congressional seat that Lankford vacated will be a very significant Republican primary, multi-candidate, no clear front runner, at least in my opinion. Then jumping over and to some legislative races specifically triggered because of those same decisions. You have Mike Turner's seat, House District 82 in the North Port of Oklahoma County. The reason that's so interesting is there's so many Republicans running for it as Mike Turner made the jump to the congressional race. So House District 82, including an old pal, Kevin Calvi, is going to try to come back, but there's certainly other credible candidates in the race. Then the Senate district for the seat 46 that Al McCaffrey has held for just a couple of years. On the Democratic side, Kay Floyd is stepping up to try to take that Senate seat, but another familiar name in Oklahoma City, Wilfredo Santos Rivera, is challenging her for the nomination, but that will be decided in the Democratic primary. And then, you can keep going on. It's so significant that now Republicans are going to completely decide the issue in the Corporation Commission race, Insurance Commissioner race, and then you have Attorney General, Auditor and Inspector, and State Treasurer, all of which the Republican incumbents didn't even attract opponents. And this gets back to something you and I touched on a few weeks ago, and that's the power of one.
Yeah.
And in this case, Tom Coburn deciding to step aside completely transformed the political landscape in Oklahoma for this year, which shows both how important elections are, but how important one man is. And I just walked through deliberately a sequence of races, all of which except the statewide races at the latter end there are affected directly by Coburn's decision. So I think it's going to be an interesting year and a very significant one. Yeah. Republicans will still be in charge when it's all over.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, you had the state's first news report on the annual assessment of state-level economic prospects for American Legislative Exchange Council, ALEC. I understand that Oklahoma has slipped in the evaluation over the past couple of years. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's rich states, poor states. Here's just the highlights. We still come in 9th place by their assessment, and they're a conservative group, by their assessment of current economic performance. We're still in the top 10 in the country in terms of where we are right now. However, looking ahead, they put us down in 21st for economic outlook. And the reason is a number of issues, a high number of employees, public employees at the state level, the continuance of issues with tort liability and workers' comp, but their cutoff date for their examination was January 1, and so you just now have some rules coming and new laws coming into effect. There's, on the plus side, there's the possibility of tax reduction. On the flip side, there's the possibility of the increase in the gross production tax, and they would score that against us. So I would just say Jonathan Small of the Oklahoma Council of Public Affairs has cast a critical eye on some of the state policies, and he's concerned about where we're headed.
All right, we don't have a lot of time left, but you had some exchanges with dozens of Oklahomans this week concerning the 19th anniversary of the Murrah bombing on the 19th. That's today. What stood out in that dialogue?
I just ask everybody maybe to go to CapitolBeatOK because I have the distillation of my own thoughts there. But what I was impressed by was about 100 people, about 100 readers responded to me via Facebook and email. And the common theme is how we treat each other, caring about each other, who is my neighbor. And I think one of the things I drew from the discussions, the back and forth, is start with the people right next to you. Start with them as your neighbors, and then those you encounter. And the lesson we got from the bombing was the way Oklahomans responded. Nothing's changed in 19 years. That's still the thing that stands out, and the enormity of the loss, which still affects all of us.
Go to capitalbeatok.com to read more about those and other topics. Pat McGuigan and Alex Cameron, have a great day.